Welcome back, everybody, to a special Christmas edition of Kicking It with Cal. I'm your host, Cal Denicky. We have two special guests on here. We've got Skylar Schafer visiting from Illinois. How you doing, Skylar?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. And we have our first reoccurring guest, Coach Travis Williams, in the house. How you been, man?
Been great, man. It's good to be back.
Yeah. The audience remembers you. We're going to get to know Skylar today, so we've kind of got a grab bag of questions for the audience, just some fun stuff, some deep stuff, and we'll get it started. So, Skylar, what are your top three favorite cereals of all time?
All right. I'm going to have to go Cinnamon Toast Crunch, then Lucky Charms, and Cocoa Puffs. And I'm a soggy cereal kind of guy. That's just the way I rock it. I know a lot of people like their crunchy cereal, but
When you talk soggy, are you talking like letting it soak in the milk for 5 minutes?
Yeah, I got to let it soak. 5 to 10 minutes tops. And I don't like too much crunch.
Okay. All right. I can dig that. Trav, what about you? What are your top cereals?
Good pick on the CT Crunch guy. All right. That's also probably number one for me. And then Captain Crunch followed by Frosted Flakes. That's rounding out the top three for me.
Regular Captain Crunch or peanut butter Captain Crunch?
Just regular for me, man. I like to keep it simple with cereal. I know I'm a little bland, but that's okay. That's okay.
I would have to say Cinnamon Toast Crunch, number one. If it's not your number one, or at least top three, I don't know if I can trust you as a person, but especially when you drink the milk after Cinnamon Toast Crunch, it's like, it's just, it's amazing. So second, I'd have to go with Lucky Charms. I believe you had that on your list too. Just it's a solid, you see that little leprechaun on the box and you know to grab it. And then third for me, I'll go Fruit Loops. I think Fruit Loops are just they hit different. And growing up in the 90s, cereal for breakfast, cereal for dinner, whatever we did, I thought, we grew up on cereal and everyone loves cereal. So leave a comment below if you disagree with the choices. But we'll move on to the next segment, which is
let us know too, soggy or crunchy?
Crunchy.
That one's gonna be a landslide.
So next, I want to talk about dogs. I'm not much of a dog person myself, but I'm sitting next to two dog people, and to share a little quick story, my good friend over here, Travis Williams, brought what was supposed to be a nice little cute Christmas dog over for the week, and we found out last night he was far from cute, and little Poppy might be leaving a little early because that dog tried attacking us last night, tried attacking you tonight, and I'm just saying, like, this dog was the devil. Like, I literally dressed up like an Eskimo, put on 2 layers of pants, winter coat, gloves to try to go unplug the TV, but I was in its territory, and that thing went crazy, almost attacked me. Really funny video. My mom loved it. Everyone loved it, but I was feeling a little crazy. So tell me about your dog, because we know you love Tucker, but I kind of want to go back to the origins of your dog, and why do you love dogs?
So I grew up with dogs. I absolutely love dogs, and in college I was going through a breakup, so I ended up getting a golden retriever puppy. He was really cute. Everybody loved him. Helped me make some friends, especially some girls. And he ended up being my best friend. Still have him today. And when I met my wife, she has a dog too. So now we have a pit bull as well, and they're best friends. And I think it's just a special relationship. When you're lonely or you're by yourself, you always have your dog with you, and always makes you just feel better.
Okay. Trav, what's your dog experience been like outside of the demon dog up there?
Yeah, I grew up with dogs as well, and that was actually the hardest part. Moving down here 3.5 years ago was leaving my dog back in Virginia. But I left it with my mom, and she moved to the Outer Banks, and now Zoe is a beach dog now, so she's living great up there. So it was tough leaving her, but it is what it is, and I just love dogs though.
Okay. And when you were going through that breakup, Skylar, was getting a dog the first thing that came to mind, or when did it kind of click with you? Like, I want this dog to help with what's going on in my life.
No, probably not at first. I think at first I tried to handle that myself mentally. Tried to exercise a lot, hang out with friends, go out. And I think just being at home alone in the evenings kind of made me realize I wanted a dog. So probably about 6 months into my breakup.
Yeah. My favorite memory with your dog Tucker is definitely taking it and making it dance to some Ray Shremmer hip hop music, and we got some great videos and great memories from that. So
Yeah, he
yeah,
came to a lot of parties. He came to the pool with me, and everybody loved him at the pool. He'd swim with everybody, and it was a good time.
cool. So yeah, I grew up with two cats. They were fine. One of them's name was Pearl. Shout out to Pearl. She was a living legend. 16 years old. Everyone knew Pearl. Great cat, but cats and dogs are two different beasts. So we'll move on next. And Skylar, I'll start with you. What was the best week of your life, and why?
The best week of my life was probably when I got to go to Japan for work. I had never been out of the country before. I absolutely loved Japan. I actually didn't want to come back. I was trying to think of reasons to tell my boss to try to get me to stay in Japan. Just great culture, great food, great people, super clean. Everything was just amazing. Beautiful.
And can you share a little bit about the tattoo you got on your arm in memory of Japan?
Yeah. So I got a long sleeve on, but I've got a half sleeve tattoo, and my coworkers over in Japan actually picked it out for me. So they helped incorporate a lot of what's going on in that sleeve, and it meant a lot to me, and it meant a lot that they played a part in it.
All right. Trav, do you have a best week of your life that comes to mind?
I have to go back to high school, honestly, man. At a basketball camp, just me and my buddies, my high school teammates, all going down to a basketball camp, and all you do is just play games, and you get free food there, man. You're staying up with your boys, you're playing video games, sneaking out, going to McDonald's. The only thing missing was the girls. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, perfect week right there, man.
And did you get caught sneaking out to McDonald's? I remember a little bit about this.
My teammates did. So I stayed back that particular night. They got caught. They had to do sprints at like 2 a.m, and they had to sit out in the playoffs the next day. Man, I made the right decision that night, staying back in the dorms. Let me tell you that much. All right.
So any kids watching this, don't sneak out at those high school basketball tournaments, because they're out to get you. They're out looking. So you made the right call, skipping out on that McDouble.
You live and learn.
So the reason I asked this question is because I was thinking about the best week of my life earlier this week, and I would answer that by saying in 2015, when I was at ISU in college, we did a trip, my first ever alternative breaks trip, and I got on a charter bus full of 45 strangers that I had never met before, and we traveled 20 hours down to Silver Springs, Florida, and did a community service activity where we were building bear habitats. We were working on basically this Carol Baskin zoo, some classic Florida stuff, but meeting those people, doing something for a good cause, helping the animals, and then actually like getting to debrief at night and get to know each other. It was this just amazing experience. I felt like I was in a movie. We were staying up until 3 a.m. out on the dock. It really acclimated me to what Florida is actually like, especially weather, climate wise, but meeting those people and doing that week-long trip followed by a Daytona Beach fun day at the end of it was just so meaningful. And I think it really molded me into who I was today. I ended up texting, I think, like 5 or 7 of those people on the trip. And I said, hey, where does that week rank amongst your best weeks of your life? And a lot of them said easily top 3. And I said, for me, it was number 1. Like, there's no question that, I ended up doing a lot more trips through that. And I'm going to do one to Kenya this summer through the same organization. So for me, just the social aspect and doing it for a cause is something that I was just really proud of and something that I'll never forget.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Do you still talk to those people?
I do.
Do you really? Wow.
I met them not knowing if I'd ever see them again. And I'd say from that trip, there's about 3 that I'm still in contact with regularly.
That's cool, man.
We call each other, and it's just, man, we're in the same, we want the same things in life. And I think that's really special. You can see the hip hop albums above us right here. I'm not a big hip hop fan, but Skylar, I'll start with you. What's a hip hop album that holds a special place in your heart, and why? We connect over hip hop so much, but I was curious as to how you'd answer this question.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I mean, I could name probably 100 albums that are special to me, but I'm gonna have to go with 50 Cent, "Get Rich or Die Trying." So that was actually the first CD I ever bought for a rap album. And for your kids watching, yes, we had CDs, we had CD players, we had to carry them on the bus, and I always had my 50 cent CD with me, and I would just play it on repeat back and forth to school every day.
How old were you when you got that?
I was probably like 11. Yeah, I was listening to hip hop super early on. My parents were okay with it, and they kind of showed me that really.
Was 50 Cent the first hip hop artist you got introduced to ever, or was it just that album?
That's a good question. I think probably Eminem, but I wasn't a huge Eminem fan growing up. I know people probably get mad about that, but yeah, I just gravitated towards 50 Cent.
Okay. Trav, what about you? I know you're a big hip hop fan.
Yeah,
We're into that Rod wave right now, but
that's right.
back then, what was going on, or when you hear that question, what's an album that comes to mind?
Yeah, I'm real stingy with music, as you know. I don't download many songs, so I would go with beer bongs and Bentleys.
Bentleys.
Yeah,
Oh,
beer
that's
bongs and
good.
Bentleys
Yeah.
by
Good
Post
pick.
Malone. I just he was big for me. You know, he kind of fell off a little bit, but um, I just know it's a good album, and I don't have to skip that many songs, and I can just listen to that album almost all the way through without skipping. And I don't know, he's just got some fire hits on there, man. Paranoid and Spoil My Night, just a lot of good ones. So that's when he was in his prime, I think, and I really enjoyed that one.
Where were you at in your life when that album came out?
Ooh, I think I was still in college, and just working, and I think I had maybe a year or two left before I graduated. So yeah, I just remember bumping it, and it was good, man.
That was a great album.
It
There was
was.
just like no skips.
Yeah.
For me, it would be Mac Miller's first debut album, Blue Slide Park, because I vividly remember I was a junior in high school and I was sitting in algebra class, algebra two, and one of my best friends, Chris Jackson, says to me, "Hey, have you heard this new Mac Miller kid?" And I said, "Who? Who's that?" He said, "You got to look up the song Knock Knock." And from that moment, it was just he was my guy, and I heard that song, bum, da da
Huh.
da, and the album came out my senior year of high school, and I was driving my dad's Toyota Camry, and speaking of like CDs, like I burned the CD off of iTunes, the whole album, and I would just listen to it, and it brings me back to being 17 years old and being in your car, and like I know you can't see that I got a Mac Miller poster up there, but it just meant so much to me. I looked up to him. He was this young kid, maybe 2 years older than I was, making music, and I was thinking, man, you're in high school making these classics. And I think that album was the first independently owned album to go number one on the charts since like 1994, something he did without a major record label. So, I mean, a lot of his albums stand out to me, but that was just being that young and thinking, man, this would be so cool to be living this lifestyle was something I loved. So, um, kind of a deeper question, but Skylar, what's a valuable lesson you've learned in your life? What's something that comes to mind about a lesson you've learned?
Yeah, I think I've learned a lot of lessons. I think life's about learning lessons and going through it, and I think just staying positive. I think when you go through life, you start to realize everybody goes through things, and it's all perspective. But just know you're not alone, and bad things can happen, and maybe you feel depressed or anxious, but it's normal. I mean, that's part of life. And once you realize that, it helps you get through it, and things will get better.
Trav?
That was good, man. You hit me hard right there, dude. I would say just do what you love to do, like as far as work and all that type of stuff. Like, me and you were teachers. We're never gonna be millionaires in life, but just impacting kids every single day. Like every single day we go to work, you're impacting a number of individuals, and it feels good, man. Like that's what I love to do, and I love to coach. So I would just say do what you love to do in life.
Yeah, I'd say for me, it's you never know the impact you can have on someone. And through teaching, it's such a rewarding job. We don't make a ton of money. It's not something that America, the United States, values. They don't value their teachers in terms of finances. But then the amount of times over my 6 years of teaching, I can say that a kid came up to me and gave me a specific situation of how I impacted them, it just makes me feel like
Mhm.
it's all worth it. Like
Yep.
whether it's making a dope handshake with them or giving them a nickname or giving them something to smile about it means the world to them. And it's a thankless job that we do. But for me, those little moments where they share their appreciation for you is like it's worth the world. So always say hello to kids, always tell them good morning, always come in with a smile because you never know what they're going through at home and you might be the only bright spot in their day. And for me, it's a valuable lesson that I keep getting reminded of as kids share with me, what they appreciate about me in my classroom and how I interact with them. So, Skylar, I know you got some questions for us though.
Yeah, I think this is a great segue. We're talking about teaching. So, for both of you, would you always teach junior high? Would you ever switch to high school, elementary, maybe even later become a college professor? What do you guys think right now?
Let me take it. It's funny. When I was student teaching back in Virginia, I was at an awesome elementary school, and if they would offer me a job, I would still be up there to this day. It was just a great school, great community. Um, Now, on the flip side of that, I came down here. I worked a summer for an elementary school and didn't have the same experience. Didn't enjoy it one bit. Um, I've been a middle school teacher for 4 years now, and at this point, I'm ready to get to high school.
Okay.
I just want to coach high school, and they say middle school is the toughest, and I fully believe that. It's been great. It's had its ups and downs, but yeah, I would love to get to high school and try something new.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. My degree was in middle level education. Illinois State has a fantastic education program, so shout out. But I knew I wanted to teach middle school, so I want to stay. I want to stay with it. I don't have any plans of going lower or higher. I just think that middle school kids, junior high aged kids from 11 to 14 are so moldable, and they don't know who they are yet, and they're trying to figure it out. And for me, elementary, I just couldn't. No, it's just too much. Like um, high school, I think kids are starting to figure out who they are more, and they're maybe a little bit more set in their ways, even though they don't even know. Like thinking back to high school, like we had no idea who we were, but you think you do
Yeah.
in high school.
You
In
do.
middle school, at least for me, I was just running around having fun with my friends, laughing. Like I had no idea what anything was. So to have a consistent role model in my life was something that I really enjoyed, which is why I want to do that to pay it forward. So I want to stay where I'm at. My degree's in middle level education. And then I talked to a guy the other day who's done both, and he said, "Man, I can't get my high school kids to buy into anything. Like they just think they're too cool for it. Whereas middle school, you actually do get more buy-in than you would think." So I'd stick with the eighth grade. Eighth grade is like a sweet spot for me. I like them a lot.
Okay. I think junior high were some of my favorite years.
Mhm.
It was a lot of fun figuring myself out, and it's a good perspective too. I think you always think you know who you are in high school, junior high, and maybe college. And even when I was out of college, constantly my mindset's changing. I'm growing and becoming somebody else that I didn't think I was. So, would you rather go on a long trip, on a long road trip, or take a flight? What would you prefer?
For me, hands down, road trip. I always go back to like how you were raised and what your family's values were like is kind of who you are as an adult. And growing up, we always did road trips. So we would go 12-hour road trips from Illinois to Buffalo, New York, and that's just I was just raised in the car like that every summer. So I love the sights. I love being on the road. You can tell more fun stories being with your family, whatever. Like that is to me so much fun, and flying's cool. I'll do a podcast on flying sometime, so we'll check that out. But road trips to me are just a blast. Even by myself, I enjoy them. I do it a lot in the summer, but when you're with people that you care about, it's pretty special.
I'm on the opposite end of the
No!
spectrum, Sky. All right, I knew my guy right here was going to say road trip. He's a big road trip guy, but no, just get me there. Get me on that flight. You know what I mean? 3 hours, we land to the destination, and then we have a good time from there. Not a big car guy for multiple hours. You know what I mean? So I'd rather just hop in the plane and get to the destination and then take it from there.
Do you think it's because obviously driving's going to take longer, but like for people who don't like car trips and enjoy rather just getting there, is it the mental fortitude? Is it you can't sit still for 5 hours, 7 hours at a time, or what is it for you, Trav, that you just don't, would rather just get there instead of experience the journey?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. Just sitting for hours and hours, and I don't know. I'd rather just not, especially like if it's like my car. I wouldn't want to be driving it like across the country, or so be it. But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not big on sitting in cars for multiple hours.
Skylar, what about you?
I'm gonna have to go with Trav. I hate
We
being
go,
in that
Scott.
car that long, man. Back hurts, and there's some downsides to flights like layovers.
Yeah.
So you gotta be careful there if you got connections. But yeah, I'd much rather fly. I love being in the air and point A to point B quick.
Mhm.
I have to go with Trav.
Yeah, I think I also tell my students, like in this journey of life, I tell them it's more about the journey than the destination. Like enjoy the journey, not just the finish line. And I think that kind of plays into my answer of like experiencing that journey and not just where you're going, or
I
the
like
fun
that a
part
lot.
of what
Yeah,
it is.
that's
So
good.
yeah.
I like it. Still don't like being in that car, but I like it. Next question: if the Bills were no longer Buffalo, would you still rock with them as a fan? Just similar to the Rams, St. Louis Rams going to LA. What would you do?
So for those that don't know, the Buffalo Bills in my family is like more than life. Like as far as I can remember, I had a Jim Kelly jersey on, and I was rocking with the Bills. I was born in Buffalo. My dad grew up there. All my family. It's like it's a part of who we are. Like I think when people think of me, one of like they probably think of the Bills like immediately, just
Yeah.
because I
For sure.
I just they're part of who I am. So if they were to leave, and they had rumored to leave for years, maybe go to Toronto or somewhere else, and I honestly can't even imagine them not being in Buffalo. Like it means so much to that city, and people talk
Yeah.
about that a lot. It really is special there. So I'd have to talk to my dad, my uncles, everyone in my life. Like we'd probably have like a little powwow and be like, all right, what are we gonna do here? Like, are we gonna follow them? To me, I think I would follow them, but there's no way it could mean the same thing. It would feel different. It would feel fake. And I'd love to talk to an Oakland Raiders fan about whether they followed him to Vegas, because that's a similar situation. Like a huge culture out there for the Raiders, but I don't know. I hope that never. I hope I never have to truly answer that question. But I think I would follow them. It just wouldn't. It wouldn't be the same.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel the same as far as the Chicago Bears. I
We
think
got two Bears fans
Yes,
Oh,
here.
you're a Bears
That's,
fan too,
that's right,
Chad?
Scott. Yes, sir,
I
man.
mean, I've been unhappy with them, last couple of years, but
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I can't switch up. I've been a Bears fan ever since I was little.
Right.
My mom kind of led me towards that path, and it'd be weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Last question. This is kind of a little bit deeper, but describe your soulmate,
Whew.
or what you think your soulmate may be.
So someone described it to me like this one time. They said, "Do you want to have kids?" And I said, "Yeah, I think so." And she told me, "I want to have kids, but my priority first is the person I'm with. Like, I'm not trying to have kids just to have them. I want to find my person, my best friend, the person that I truly feel like I can connect with before that's even an option." And I think a lot of people are in a rush to have kids, or they're getting older and thinking, "Wow, my time is ticking down." So to me, like my soulmate, I would call my best friend, and I would want them to have the same values and morals as me. We definitely need to be aligned in a lot of things. I would hope she would like to travel, because I love to travel. And I wouldn't say it's a deal breaker, because my parents are very different in a lot of the things like that in terms of that. But a traveler, it would be cool if she likes sports, because I'm a big sports person. But they don't have to. I just think that being my best friend, someone who you don't have to think twice about when you're being who you are. Like I've hung out with you and your wife the last few days, and like when you get silly and goofy and like do these fun, like I love that. And the fact that you don't have to think twice about that makes a good relationship. So that's what I see in you two. So shout out, keep doing your thing.
Thanks.
But yeah, just my best friend, you know, I hope she's listening one day and we can look back on this. But like, I don't know. Like finding your best friend, being one, and then you can worry about kids later.
Yeah.
Trav?
What an answer, man. How do I follow that? What an answer. I just would love to have someone that just doesn't have a mean bone in their body, just kind-hearted. I always think about like when you're going on a date and stuff, like how do they treat like the waiter or waitress? Like do you treat them with respect? Like you know what I mean? Like I don't know. That's just a good hint of who that person is.
Yep.
Obviously, you know, I would love someone that loves sports and has similar interests as me, but I just want someone that is just a kind-hearted person and just doesn't really have a mean bone in their body, and then take it from there, man. Beautiful on the inside, just as much as the outside. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So for the audience, my wife's in the room. It's our Cal's first live audience.
Live audience, clap it up.
So she's back there watching. But yeah, I mean, what Cal said, just best friend and being able to align on a lot of different things. And trust. Trust is huge. We trust each other with everything, whether it's finances, hanging out with friends, going on trips without each other. That's really important. You know, you don't want a toxic relationship, and you want it to be playful, and you want to complement each other well. So.
Yeah, and I'll kind of end the podcast. We usually do one thing on your mind, but since it's Christmas time, we'll do a little Christmas themed ending. So we're all down here in Florida for Christmas. Obviously, feels different from what we all grew up and are used to. But what's a Christmas memory or something about Christmas that stands with you, Skylar? Whether it's something from your childhood or something that you enjoy about that time in this holiday season.
I just remember as a kid just being able to wake up, waiting for Santa to come drop all the presents.
Santa! I know him!
Yeah, we just watched Elf last night. But yeah, just all the presents under the tree and just how fun that was. Me and my brothers ripping into all the presents and hanging out all day. And yeah, I just love it, man.
Trav, what about you?
Yeah, just the snowy winters, just waking up on Christmas with snow and of course all the presents under the tree and just hanging with your parents. My mom makes sausage gravy every Christmas, so that was always bomb to me. But yeah, just hanging with the family, watching basketball, and just enjoying each other's presents. So I miss that, you know, I miss that.
Yeah. As we get older, our Christmases and our family traditions kind of change a little bit, and now we get to spend Christmas down here together, which is awesome. Watching Elf the other night was fantastic. Such a great movie. I want to watch that every year now. I didn't really watch it as a kid, but as I got older, like just it was fun. In my family, we would put a little Buffalo Bills helmet on the top of our tree. So I don't know how many people do that, but that was kind of the big tradition in our family. So that's it. I want to thank everyone for listening. Thank you, Kelsey, for being here with our first live audience, and Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Have a good one.